Hey everyone. So I trust that you've read your briefs and that you've read through them and understood fully what you are expected to do this week. I know that it can seem a bit loaded, but I just wanted to talk you through how we're going to actually do this, because I'm aware that most of you, if not all of you, don't have pattern paper at home. So we're going to do this quite methodically. So if you've gone through your brief, you'll see that we needed a scissor. If you have your 30 centimeter ruler, that's great. If you have your metal ruler, your L-shaped metal ruler, that's even more perfect. But if you don't, we are going to make a plan for that. You'll need your pencil, your pen, your scissor, your calculator for the calculations and the measurements. I've got my phone here for my pattern book. Also, if some of you don't have your pattern book anymore, please let me know and I will send it to you. And also I've got my measurements written down. If you remember previously, your measurements came from page 12, the first size chart. So we are doing size 10 again. So the required measurements are on page 80 and 81. So it's hips, waist to hip, and skirt length. And I've written the skirt length down as 40. Because of our page limitations, we are going to do a half scale skirt, and that is so that we can adjust the dimensions to what we can do here at home without the large size of pattern paper. So let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, I just wanted to draw your attention to page 12. This is page 12 in your pattern book, and if you're a bit confused about what the first size chart was, this is the first size chart here, the top one. So I need you to actually list all the measurements needed to make the pattern. So the pattern requires the waist, the hips, the waist to hip, and the skirt length. So the skirt length can basically be any length that we want it to be. So I require you to make your skirt length 40 centimeters. So as you can see, I made a note of all my measurements that I need required. You can see that. Let me just zoom in. I made a note of all my measurements that I needed, and I made a note of all the measurements that was needed. And because this is a half scale skirt, we need to write down each one, and then we need to divide it by 2 because it's a half scale. So we are going to divide each number by 2. So the half of each number, which then becomes the new measurements which you will be working with. Right, so what I have here are just two sheets, two A4 sheets, plain blank A4 sheets. We are using A4 sheets because firstly, number one, this is most likely what you have at your homes, and number two, the half scale skirt will actually fit onto this piece of paper, and this works so much better because we don't have to use pattern paper and you don't have to go out and buy any. This is much easier to work with to do this job. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to put edge and edge together like so. Turn it this way. We're putting the two edges together like that. We're just joining it. Just make sure that they actually touch. Okay, and then we're just going to join them down the center like that with one single piece. Remember, if you don't have A4 sheets, you can use whatever you can find, as long as you are able to see the markings of your measurements and where you're drawing your lines. As long as it's simple for you and big enough, then it's suitable. Let's turn it over. So this is our piece, our pattern piece of paper now. So now we're going to use this and it's going to work perfectly. So let's go. So I'm going to do the first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about the first 5 steps with you. And then I need you to carry on, right? So let's begin. So the first line, it says square down and across from 1. So when we do this, we did this previously with a full scale skirt, so now we're going to do it half scale. So square down and across from 1. So let's go out there, let's find 1. So what they're saying is draw 1 in the corner and square down and square across, right? So I've got my metal ruler here, which is quite simple to understand. I'm doing it a little bit away from the edges, as you can see. So I've got my pencil and I'm marking that as number 1 over there, and I'm squaring across and I'm squaring down, right? So I acknowledge that some of you may not have your L rulers with you, your metal rulers with you. So what I've got here, this is my hardcover notebook, and some of you might still have it from school. I'm going to do this does exactly the same trick. Make your corner 1 and you mark it 1 and you go down and you go across, and you can just extend your lines with your 30 centimeter ruler if you see that it's necessary to do so, just so that this can be a whole lot easier for you. I don't want you guys to get stuck in any way, but I need you to be able to complete this task with the least amount of effort and what you have around you. Okay, cool. So let's continue. So now that we've got our point number 1 and we squared across and we squared down, let's go back and see what they say. So from 1 to 2, it's half the hip plus 1.5. Okay, so let's find where 2 is, because it says from 1 to 2. Okay, out there, where is 2? That's 1 over there. There is 2. From 1 to 2. From 1 to 2, it's half the hip measurement plus 1.5. Okay, so let's go to our measurements. So now taking note that we have now new measurements over here. So the halved measurements are the ones that you now work with. So 45, so they want you to half your measurement. So we're going to say 45. I've got my calculator here. You say 45 divided into 2 equals 22.5. You can make a note of that. 22.5. And they want you to add 1.5. So this is where the tricky part comes in, because in order to make a half scale skirt, you need to halve the measurements inside the pattern instruction as well. So you have to say 1.5 divided into 2 is 0.7, which I'll make a note of over there. So let's say 22.5 plus 0.7 is 23.2. 23.2. So after all those calculations, we are going to take our ruler and we say 23.2. You don't have to use your metal ruler for this. You can use even your measuring tape to get the measurement. They want 23.2, 23.2, which is there. You mark it number 2, right? So they're saying half the hip measurement, which was 45, plus 1.5, which we also halved, which was 0.7, and we added those two amounts together and it gave us 23.2, and we marked number 2 when we measured 1 to 2 was 23.2, and they are saying you need to square down from this line, which is the center front line. So we are going to take our ruler. Again, if you don't have your metal ruler, you can use the corner of a hardcover book. Okay. Right. And then it says here from 1 to 3 is the skirt length, square across to 4. So let's find where 1 to 3 is. Where is number 3? Here is 1, there is 3, and we are going down. So from 1 to 3, they want a skirt length, and our skirt length is 20. So let's measure from 1 to 3 is 20, which is over there. I'm marking it 3, and then they want you to square across. And squaring across on the number 2 line, holding it like that, and we go across, right? And they say that once you square across, that point over there is now number 4. So let's just check if I'm correct. They're saying skirt length square across to 4 on the center front line. So this point over here is number 4. Right. Okay, so now we know that this line over here, that is center front, and we can mark center front. Right, and we know that this is center back, and we are going to mark it center back. Right. Right. So then it says further, 1 to 5 is the hip measurement. Where is number 5 on the pattern? Let's go check. That is number 5. So from 1 to 5 is the hip measurement, waist to hip measurement. Our waist to hip measurement is 10.1. So let's take our ruler. And we measure 10.1, which is there. And we mark it number 5. And they say square across to find number 6. Right, so this point over here is number 6. Okay, as you can see, number 6. Okay, let's go further. Okay, so now it starts with where you are formulating the back. So 5 to 7 is quarter the hip measurement plus 1.5. Right. So what is quarter the hip measurement? As we can see, our hip measurement is 45. So they want a quarter of the hip measurement. So we're going to say 45 divided into 4, because a quarter is 4. The answer is 11.2, which I'm going to make a note of. Okay. And the pattern goes further to say quarter the hip measurement plus 1.5 is 1.5. We have to divide into 2, which is, as we know from previous measurement, is 0.7. The half of 1.5 is 0.7. And that answer is 11.2 plus 0.7. It's 11.9. 11.9. Right? So now we say 11.9. From 5 to 7, we are going to find 11.9. Let me go and find that. There is number 7. There is number 5, sorry. And we're going to find number 7. And that measurement is 11.9. So we're taking our ruler and we are measuring 11.9, which is over there. And we're marking that number 7. Right? You should be with me so far. Okay, so now we're going back in here. 1 to 9. 1 to 9 is quarter the waist measurement plus 4.2. So this is your waist measurement, and we're going to say quarter the waist measurement, 32 divided into 4 is 8. Right? Quarter the waist measurement plus 4.25. So you have to divide that number into 2. So let's say 4.25 divided into 2 equals 2.1. Okay, so it says there plus 2.1 equals 10.1. Correct. Right, so let's find where number 9 is. This is number 1. This is 1. And where is number 9? There is number 9. Right, let me just zoom in for you. This is where 1 is. This is where 9 is. The distance between 1 and 9 is 10.1 centimeters. Okay, let's do that. Let's measure 10.1 centimeters, which is there. This is number 9. Okay, so let's do, so they are saying you need to join 9 to 10, which is 1.25. Join 9 to 10, 1.25. So you have to take your calculator and you say 1.25 divided into 2, because it's a number within the pattern instruction, you have to divide it by 2, equals 0.6. And let's find where 10 is. 10 is above 9. So I'm going to take my ruler, and it says 0.6. which is there. And I'm going to say that is 10. And you have to join those 2 points, which is a very short distance, but it definitely matters. Okay, so can you see those 2 points? It's very close to each other. And then it says join 10 to points 1 and 7 with dotted lines. Join points 10 to 1 and 10 to 7 with dotted lines. So I'm going to use my 30 centimeter ruler, and I'm going to use dashed lines. And then 10 to 7. So that's my dashed lines. Okay, so furthermore, these points will help you. I think I should possibly carry on till just before 11. So they're saying here that you should divide the lines 10 to 1 into 3 parts, right? So they're saying mark those points 11 and 12, right? So you need to divide it into 3 parts. So the measurement, they want you to measure what the distance is here. So you measure it. So I get the measurement of about 10.2, and they want you to divide that line into 3. 10.2 divided into 3 is 3.4. So I'm going to start from the corner. I'm going to say 3.4, which is there, and then again from there 3.4, which is there. So now they're also furthermore saying, if you read it, they're saying you divide the line 10 to 1 into 3 parts, which is what we did, and then mark the points 11 and 12. So let's go out here quickly and go and look at the diagram. This point is 11 and this point is 12. So we mark it 11 and we mark this 12. Right. So let's go in furthermore there. Okay, mark it 11 and 12, which is what we did, using the line 1 to 10, excuse me, using the line 1 to 10, square down from these points 11 and 12 with dotted lines. Okay, So I'm going to use the line, the dashed line as a guide and square it down. I'm going to make the line soft line down and soft line down there. And that will be the guidelines for your dots. So we have now gotten to the point where we are at 11 to 13, and this is the point where I leave you to complete the rest of your pattern. I believe you are capable to do so, especially if you completed the previous full scale pattern, which I'm aware was quite some time ago, but I'm positive that you are able to complete this pattern on your own. And from here we will do our further adaptations.